All right, today we're jumping into one of the world's most mysterious and, honestly, most misunderstood texts. You've probably heard it called the Tibetan Book of the Dead, but that's not really what it is. Think of it more as a guide to life's greatest journey, a detailed, step-by-step map for our own consciousness as it makes the trip from one life to the next. Right off the bat, you have to understand how this book completely flips the script on death. I mean, listen to this idea. Death isn't some terrifying final end. It's just a transition. It's as natural as taking off old worn-out clothes and putting on a fresh set. It's just a shift from one state of being to another. So if death is just a transition, you have to ask, what is it that's actually making the transition? And that question gets us to the absolute core of this whole text. Its unique take on what we are and what actually keeps going on after our body stops working. The central idea here is something called the continuity of consciousness. Now, to get your head around it, the book tells us to think about it like, well, like the weather. Today's weather didn't just pop up out of nowhere, right? It's a direct result of yesterday's high and low pressure systems. In the same way, our consciousness is seen as this unbroken stream where every single moment flows from the one before it, a stream that stretches way beyond a single lifetime.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because this idea of a self is totally different from the Western concept of a soul. See, instead of some permanent, unchanging thing that you have, the Buddhist view says the self is a dynamic process. It's this continuous flow of thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations, and the word self is just the label we slap onto that ever-changing stream.
So here's the kicker. If you can accept this idea that your consciousness is a continuum, then getting ready for death stops being this dark, morbid thing. It actually becomes the most practical, logical thing in the world. You're simply preparing for the next leg of a much, much longer journey. Okay, so how does this journey actually kick off? Well, the text gives us this astonishingly detailed, step-by-step map of the dying process itself, and it frames the whole thing as the dissolution of our physical self. It describes dying as this systematic shutdown of the four great elements that make up the body. And it's a very specific sequence. First, the solid earth element dissolves into water. Then water dissolves into fire, fire into wind, and finally, all that vital energy of wind dissolves back into the underlying stream of consciousness itself. And this is what I find so brilliant about this text. It's not just some abstract theory. It actually describes what each stage feels like. So as the earth element dissolves, you feel heavy, like you're sinking. As water dissolves, you feel this intense dryness. With fire, you feel the warmth leave your hands and feet and retreat to your core. And finally, as wind dissolves, your breath just stops. This whole process ends with this descent into a state of total blackness, what we today would call clinical death or losing consciousness. This text sees as something completely different. It's not an off switch, it's a gateway, a doorway opening into the next phase of the journey. And what's on the other side of that door? This is where we get to the most famous part of the whole trip, the intermediate state, known as the bardo. It's this transitional space filled with profound visions, which the text insists are nothing more than projections of your very own mind. So what exactly is the bardo? Let's break it down. The word itself just means an in-between state, or a gap. And in this context, it's that period of conscious experience that bridges the gap between the moment your body dies and the moment your next life begins. Now, during this bardo state, the consciousness sees this spectacular, kind of crazy display of what the text calls peaceful and wrathful deities. But who are they, or what are they? Are they gods? Are they demons here to judge us? The answer to this question, well, it's the key to understanding the entire text. The book is super clear on this. The peaceful deities, they're not external beings, not at all. They are symbolic reflections of the pure, calm, perfect parts of your own consciousness. They're the light of your own awareness, the purity of your own senses. They're you in your most pristine state. And the same exact thing goes for those terrifying, fiery, wrathful deities. They are not demons coming to punish you. They are the very same parts of your own mind, just expressed as pure, dynamic, unstoppable energy. They represent the mind's raw power to just cut through all the illusions. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote from the source material just hits the nail on the head. The whole show, the whole cosmic map of deities that appears, it's a mirror. It's just a symbolic picture of your own mind's potential to be perfect. The entire experience is an internal one. Okay, so after you've encountered these pure and energetic aspects of your own mind, the journey takes another turn, a much more personal one. The consciousness comes face to face with its own past in what the book calls the mirror of karma. This is the moment of truth. But, and this is a huge but, it's not described as some god on a throne judging you. It's an inner judgment. Your own mind holds up a mirror, and in that mirror, you see the unfiltered, unvarnished consequences of every single thing you did, said, and thought in the life you just lived. And the text gives us this powerful way to picture it, the weighing of pebbles. Every good, helpful thing you did is a white pebble. Every negative, harmful thing is a black pebble. And the total weight of all those pebbles creates this karmic momentum, a force that's going to push your consciousness to its next destination. A later commentator on the text used this absolutely beautiful phrase to describe this moment. He said, "Death develops life's photographs." Wow. Think about that. All those moments, all those consequences we didn't even notice when we were busy living, suddenly they snap into perfect, undeniable focus. You can't hide from any of it. So after this incredibly intense life review, the consciousness arrives at a massive fork in the road. And fueled by all that karmic momentum, it has to face two possible paths forward. Another round of rebirth, or the ultimate goal, liberation. For most of us, the path taken is rebirth. That balance of white and black pebbles creates this powerful, almost gravitational pull that just propels the consciousness, almost instinctively, toward a new body, new parents, and a new life, to start the whole cycle all over again. But there's another possibility. The book reveals that this entire process, the dying, the bardo, the visions, is actually a profound opportunity. A golden opportunity, really. If the consciousness can just recognize the visions for what they are, projections of its own mind, it can break free from the whole cycle and achieve total liberation. And that right there is why the book's real original title is The Great Liberation by Hearing. See, it's not meant to just be read quietly like a philosophy book. It's an instruction manual. It's an auditory map designed to be read out loud to a person who's dying to constantly remind their consciousness what's really happening and guide them toward that ultimate freedom. Which leaves us with one final, and I think one crucial question. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is, yes, a guide to dying, but by completely reframing death as this profound transition, as this rare opportunity, it completely changes our relationship with life itself. So the question isn't just about what happens after we die, it's this: if death is not an end, how does that change the way you live your life, right here, right now?